It's the Brad and John Show.
Okay, this is B Block, and the date is December 4th, and we do the show live 7A to 8A Central Standard Time every Monday through Friday. And the reason I mention what date it is because if you're hearing this on the podcast or on the YouTube channel, you'll know references what we're talking about. Some of these things may be dated. Some of these things may still be current. Okay, Biff. Give me the Biff update, John.
Yes, so folks will remember that a gentleman named Biff Williams down in Springfield, when he was at Utah Tech, and he was the president of Utah Tech, his friend got a vasectomy. Biff went to his friend's house, put a zucchini and 2 eggplants on his front porch, along with a wacky note that said, "Hope your recovery from your vasectomies, from your outpatient procedures going well." A couple people that were named on that letter, or in fact 3 people named in that letter, in that fake letter, took offense. Now they want to sue because they say it was harassment and discrimination. Then the Board of Governors and the Missouri State University Faculty Senate last month got together and voted a vote of no confidence. That's what the Faculty Senate said. Brad, the Board of Governors got together on a Friday after we went off the air and said they want to keep Biff Williams. As of now, they are not deterred by this lawsuit and what they have heard, and they want to keep Biff Williams.
You know what?
What's that, Brad?
I feel better about our university system because if you're going to throw some guy out because at his previous job, and once again, it wasn't anything that he did on the clock, so to speak. I get it at the point when you're the president of the university that supposedly you're on the clock 24 hours a day, 7 days a week because you're in charge and stuff like that. But this was a personal thing where he's doing little sharp elbow stuff with one of his buddies, right? It's like I go back, it's like a Randy Bluestone kind of thing, okay? You know, once again, the better they are friendship, the more S you give them, right?
You're exactly right, Brad, as anybody who listens to our show knows. And in fact, excuse me, yesterday on Scott Fawn's midweek update, I should say Monday on the midweek update, Scott referenced this briefly because Scott pointed out the fact that if you're the Missouri State Board, their last president was super popular. He's a guy named Cliff Smart. And if you're the board and you hire a dude, like in 1 year, and then a few months later after he starts, somebody gets mad about zucchini and eggplants or whatever, like it's kind of hard after the dude hasn't even been there in a year to be like, okay, get out of here, pal. You know what I mean? So it puts the board. I don't know if we should give the board too much credit here because part of it might be just them doubling down and being like, look, the dude hasn't even been here a year. We're going to keep him a while, you know?
Part of this thing is this political correctness stuff. You know, I mean,
yes, of course it is.
That's to the point where, you know, there was a time when, you know, think about this. In my lifetime, there have been, I know several guys who were like incredible pranksters, okay? And I don't think you see as many pranksters as you see as much anymore because of the fact that you get arrested. Matter of fact, here's a perfect example. We talked about this. We didn't really go into tremendous detail. There was one of the things we need to bring back up. But there are people that are crediting Barron Trump as giving his father, Donald J. Trump, the incredible advice of saying, hey, Dad, these guys, the podcasters, the Joe Rogans of the world, the Theo Vons, the Nelk boys are all very, very, very popular with the young men like me. I love these guys. You should go on their podcast. So guess what? DJT goes on Nelk Boys, goes on Rogan, goes on Theo's show, and the whole bit. And there are some people that are saying that pushed him over the top because of the fact there were young dudes who were like, okay, we're tired of this crazy, weird political correctness stuff. We're tired of all this stuff. Why can't everybody be like Joe Rogan and just call him the way he sees him? You know what I'm saying? And
I do know. Yeah, go ahead, Brad. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And the idea being is, I think, I talk about the pendulum swinging. I think that this crazy, weird political correctness and this pronoun BS, and matter of fact, somebody said to me the other day, and I didn't find it, but somebody said that even AOC has taken pronouns off her Twitter account or X account.
It's true.
It is. Okay, so, and it's to the point where it's like, and you know, the crazy thing about this is that why are the minority ruling everything? And I think that's one of the things that people finally, like Mark Reardon has all these crazy things. When he starts his show, he plays all these little crazy little clips like I used to do until John got mad because we got flagged because some of these clips were copyright protected, whatever. But he plays all these little clips, and one of them is he's got, when they're under a congressional investigation or senatorial investigation, I don't know which, and they're asking these women, can you define what a woman is? And they can't define it. It's like, okay, that's just a bridge too far. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I do know, but let me interrupt, Brad, because it's the minority voice has become so loud, and they're able to use shame and say you should be ashamed for making people feel bad for defining a woman in biological terms. So, like, if you're loud and you focus on shaming people and being wrong, if you're weak-willed or you're cowardly or you're afraid of losing your job, then you're going to say, sorry. What pronoun should I use? I'm sorry. Like, so you're constantly in a defensive pose against an offensive minority.
I hear what you're saying. And to the point where I know you're not going to go see it because of the fact that I told you to go see it. John's a contrarian. If I say, John, hey, John, there's a great deal at White Castle today, John will never go near a White Castle today. Okay, but the idea being is I went and saw Am I a Racist, okay? With what's his name?
Yeah.
Matt
Walsh.
Matt Walsh, okay. And one of the funniest... It's sort of a goofy movie. It's like a mockumentary kind of thing, but it's fairly well done. And one of the things he does is he goes to someplace in the middle of nowhere, like in redneck territory or something like that. And have you seen this? Have you seen clips of this?
No, I haven't seen this part, no.
Well, he goes to this redneck area where there's all these people who are like, they look like they just came out of central casting for redneck. If you're going
Deliverance. Yeah, they look like they came out of Deliverance.
Right. They're they're in a bar or someplace in the middle of nowhere. And once again, he's not priming these people. He's not throwing them lines or anything like that. They come off as the most opinionated people in the world. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't have a problem with that. They're all like that.
Yeah, of course.
And the idea being is that he sort of says the true racists are the people who are declaring other people are racist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. How did we get on this, Brad? Oh, we were talking. I was giving the Missouri State update.
Right, Missouri State update. Okay, the other now we know Biff is good for the time being, and the lawsuit will play out. But that's not even in Missouri. That's in Utah, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's a Title IX lawsuit up there.
Right. Okay. So hopefully Biff, and Biff's, like I said, when you originally told the story, I thought to myself, I think I'd like Biff, except for the goofy name.
I know.
I mean, he sounds like my kind of guy. Sort of, like, hey, let's have some fun. Let's my buddy just got a vasectomy. Let's put a zucchini and some eggplants on his front porch. That kind of stuff. Okay. The other thing you talked about, we had a couple things. What were we going to come back to? Remember?
Jingle Fest.
Okay. This is so bizarre because more and more this is happening. And I know this up front because can I give my bias on this?
Yeah, please do.
These companies come into town, and what they're like, they're not necessarily franchises. They're companies that are essentially, to a certain extent, there are companies that are doing this now with Halloween and various things like that. And they do it like Renaissance Fair used to be a locally operated fair, and that got bought by somebody. And they run these things all over the country. And this is something that right now is running concurrently in St. Louis, actually in O'Fallon at Carshield Field, and in Kansas City, and I believe down somewhere at Lake of the Ozarks. Isn't that the thing? There are 3 locations they have?
I'm not sure exactly. I have the Post-Dispatch piece in front of me, and I don't see where they are. But yeah, I from what I understand, it's sort of like a franchise, and there's multiple locations.
Right. Okay. And the interesting part of it is, one of the comments that I read was, if you look at the TV commercial, and once again, I will thank someone, because if I mention her name, she'll get mad at me. But if I thank someone for sending me this stuff, the TV commercial makes it look like, oh my God, does that look cool or what? And what's interesting is, the woman, I think, that broke her leg said exactly that. She said not only was we were really pumped when we saw the TV commercial, we saw the video, whatever, it's on YouTube and stuff like that. But when we got there, it was nothing like it. It was like totally different. It's sort of like going back to the era of Saturday morning cartoon shows where you see all these cool toys for kids. You go, oh man, I want one of those. And you buy it, and it's a piece of junk. It doesn't do anything that you showed on TV.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You're right, Brad.
Right. And so the deal is There have been all sorts of complaints. Matter of fact, there are people filing complaints with the Better Business Bureau. And the crazy part of this is that in an oblique manner, the city of O'Fallon's involved in this because they own the Car Shield field. That's their field. Obviously, I would imagine that Mike Carter would be somewhat concerned about this because the name of his company is sort of getting trashed by the bad publicity because it's at Car Shield Field. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. It's like collateral damage of that. And apparently, from what I've read, and I'm not going to pass judgment on this, but they're being real hard line on people complaining, and they'll essentially say, sorry, no refunds. Now, once again, just yesterday, and I'm not trying to say, am I a great guy or what? I had somebody buy some advertising on one of our stations. I won't say which one, won't give the whole idea behind it. And over the weekend, this person sent me an email or text, and they weren't 100% satisfied with what we were doing. And it had to do with the fact, I'll come right out and say it was on this station, and they thought we were still playing music. And I was under the impression they knew, because we haven't played music on the station for just 3 years now. I think we did the
years. Yeah. How do they not do due diligence?
I don't know. And they sent me, a text, and it was like, "Hey, I listened to your station. I thought I was on the wrong station. It's a talk station now." So essentially, what happened was, I thought to myself, "Okay, you know what? I get it." I refunded their money. I just, hit the little button on my PayPal thing. Yep. Bang, they got their money back. Okay. Once again, I took the hit, and to me, it's like, you know what? And the interesting part of it was, after I did that, then they came back and go, well, I wasn't really that upset. And I say, look, here's the deal. I refunded your money. They're running through the end of the year. I said, I'm just going to keep running your ads. And they go, why would you do that? I go, you know what? You're not 100% happy. I would rather have you walk away from this and saying, I wasn't 100% happy, but that guy gave me my money back and he ran my ads anyway, rather than having him say, oh, that guy's a jerk. He didn't tell me he's a talk station now and he wouldn't give me my money back. You know what I'm saying?
That's big. Yeah, that's magnanimous of you, Brad, really.
Well, I'm not trying to say that I'm the great guy, but once again, big picture, John, you're the PR guy. Which aspect, which one of those stories is going to get more positive PR? What I did or what these Jingle people did?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And Alexis Zotos in her TikTok points out the fact that what you're given when you bought tickets in no way matches up with what the advertising is. And so to your point, Brad, the organizers have said something to the effect of, we realize that some people, here's what they say, we acknowledge areas for improvement and are actively implementing changes to ensure every guest has an exceptional experience. In other words, okay, we know it sucks, but we'll do some stuff to shut you guys up.
I'm looking at the things right now. Get tickets. I'll just go on this, and it does say 3 locations, Kansas City, O'Fallon. Okay, daytime season pass. Get your daytime season pass for weekends, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and daytime sessions during Christmas week. No reservation needed. Just show up and enjoy Fast Pass access, limited ice skating, and snow tubing, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's pick Friday night. I'm going to hit Friday, and price ranges are, and this is dynamic, well, it's all the same now. 4:30 p.m., it's $34. 5:30 p.m., 8:30 p.m., it's $34. Okay, let's look at Saturday. This is this weekend. Saturday pricing. Oh, it's interesting. Saturday, December 7th is $26. Let's look ahead to another week here, because I saw somebody saying they were paying Saturday. I think they've changed the prices on this, because this is not the same. They had
to have, Brad, because think of how much demand has plummeted.
Yeah, it's like now daytime hours. It's December 21st, $26. December 22nd, $26. Yeah, they've changed. It says starting price range $26 to $38. And if let's go back for a minute. Let's go back. If we wanted to go tonight would be, they're not open tonight. They're open tomorrow night. So Thursday, tomorrow night would be. Now, why is it $34 tonight? I mean, tomorrow night. Why is it $34 tomorrow night? But on Friday night, it's $26. Does that make any sense to you?
No, I don't have any idea why, Brad.
Why would Thursday night be essentially 30% higher? Isn't that right? Isn't about right? 30 somewhere in third. A third more expensive than Friday night. I don't get that.
Well, maybe you're competing with on weekends. You're competing with a whole lot of other events in the area. So maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe demand would actually be higher on Thursday because there's fewer events competing with it.
Well, should we try call Mike Carter on this?
Yeah, why not? I mean, but the thing we also know, though, Brad, Mike can't say anything about this because he'd have to put his corporate hat on. Like, he wouldn't be able to talk to you about fun stuff like traffic tickets and municipal court, he would have to put his car shield hat on. He wouldn't say anything interesting.
Well, then we won't call him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I would rather not put him in a spot where he says, Brad, I can't talk about this right now.
Well, let's call Bill Eigel and see what Bill says about it.
Yeah, well, Bill can make it part of his county executive run. Yeah. I heard that Nick Guccione was actually behind this whole thing.
Behind what?
He's the guy. He's actually the shadowy figure that's actually funding Jingle Fest. And before they opened, he went to the plastic tiles and he poured cold water on the tiles so that people would slip and fall.
No, that's not true. Nick Guccione is a really nice guy. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's running, he's a North County boy. Did you know that? I
did not know that.
Yeah.
Do you mean to tell me that a heterosexual white male would flee North St. Louis County or St. Charles? Let me guess. Did he leave mid-90s when the neighborhood started, quote, changing?
I know most of the mayors in St. Charles County, and I have to tell you, without a doubt, I don't know the Dudardin Prairie mayor, but I know Dan Borgmeyer because Dan used to be in the advertising business. And matter of fact, if you walk up to Dan and say, Evelyn Wood Reading Dynamics, and you give the first three numbers of the phone number, 878, he'll pick it up and give you the ad because he used to do those ads himself. He's a great guy. Then you've got Len Pagano, once again, a really nice guy, Mayor Hennessy out in O'Fallon. And what I think they all have in common is they're sort of average Joe kind of guys. They're not real flashy or anything like that, but they really have a love for their city, and they take pride in their city. And I think that is really, really, really missing in a certain place called St. Louis, if you know what I'm saying, John.
I do know what you mean. I think it's good that you're flattering them. You don't mention that you have a lot of golf cart legislation before each of those city councils. But yeah, I think it's nice of you to flatter them on the air.
No,
and I know that you want them to join your rally against Scott Drachnik. So I think it's great that you're flattering them. Right?
Yes. Well, the only problem is they all like Scott too. So maybe I'm in the problem with that. There's somebody we should call, but he wouldn't go. He won't even return my phone calls anymore. If I leave him one message,
I bet it's an imaginary beef. I bet it's another imaginary beef, Brad.
So, John, once again, I don't know if I have his cell phone number. I don't think I do. Okay, we need to move on.
Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's Combest, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?